Hello everyone, my name is Selina and this is sewing tutorial for Elena Dress by the dressmaker. To save you guys time from making the pattern yourself, you guys can buy it on my Etsy shop or my website, thedressmaker.org. Also, I will be giving this pattern away for the first 100 lucky viewer. To enter the giveaway, please check out the comment down below to see how you can enter and win this pattern for yourself. Let's move on to the sewing part. First, I will lay all the pattern pieces out by its order, and then I will start sewing them together. Make sure you mark the notches before sewing and you match them together while sewing. Your sudden gaze and time it started racing, but moments tend to fade and you're too far away from me to get my name in. Someone blocking my way. For the curve at the bust, I will cut a little snip into the seam line. Make sure you don't cut too deep into the seam. Next, I will be using a small pillow. This is called a tailor hem, and this is helping me ironing the curve easier. Next, I'm going to do the same with the other bodies. You could read my mind. For the front skirt panel, measure 10 cm down from the top or 4 inches and pin the pocket to the skirt, right side together. Do this on both sides. Do the same for the back skirt panel. Make sure if one panel you put the pocket on the left side, the other one you gotta put it on the right side. Sew the pocket to the skirt. Open the pocket piece to one side and press it. Place the front and back skirt right side together, align at the top and align the pocket. Walk into the place, dispatch you from away. Sew along the side seam of the pocket and the skirt. Was on your face and then from the 80s. Someone keeps blocking my way. I can't feel farther away. I do a zigzag stitch at the top of the pocket to secure it. You know that I want you. I put the zigzag stitch here so the seams are strong in case the pocket holds something heavy. This is how the hidden pocket looks like when you finish. For the lining of the skirt, sew the front skirt panel to the back skirt panel right side together with the front skirt panel in the middle of two back pieces. Press the seam open after you're done. Next step, we're going to gather the top part of the skirt. There are many gathering techniques, but here is how I do it. I will take a roll of thread and I will align the thread with the top part of the skirt. Then I will sew a zigzag stitch with that thread in the middle. Remember to keep a lot of extra thread at both ends to do the gathering later. I didn't choose a color that is more stand out, so I hope you guys can still see the little light pink thread in the middle of the zigzag stitch, and if I start pulling the thread, it will start creating a gathering. Now we're gonna come back to the main fabric bodice, turn it upside down. I'm going to match the middle of the skirt piece to the middle of the bodice. Now start pulling the thread for gathering and just keep pulling until you can match the side seam of the skirt to the side seam of the bodice. Even out the gathering and pin them in place.
Walk into the place, dispatch you from a race. My heart, it started racing. Crowd across the way, flowers on your face, and then I'm from the 80s. Someone keeps blocking my way. I can't feel farther away. Wait on.
Do the same for the back of the skirt and the leftover of the bodice. Sew the skirt to the bodice.
Lost in a daze, I caught your sudden gaze, and time it started racing. But moments tend to fade, and you're too far away.
This is how the skirt and the bodice gonna look like after you're done. Then I will do the same for the lining.
Wait on the moment to say that I want you. You know that I want you. Across the road. Across the road. And if you could read my mind.
Now I'm going to use a serger to clean up the gathering. However, you can also trim it with a scissor and do a zigzag stitch. Right side together, I will match the lining and the main fabric pieces at the top edge. I make sure that I match all the seam line together and pin everything in place. I sew along the top edge while leaving the curve for the armhole open. Next, I will press the seam allowance to the side of the lining and start sewing the lining and the seam allowance together. This is called top stitching. I will sew pretty close to the seam line, about 0.2 centimeter or 0.1 inch.
Wait on a moment to say that I want you. You know that I want you.
This is how the top stitch gonna look like. I will sew the armhole together. just to secure the seam line.
Lost and in a daze, I caught your sudden gaze, and time it started racing. But moments tend to fade, and you're too far away from me to get my name in.
I'm also going to press the gathering. First, I'm going to make sure that all the lines are straight, and then I will press them very lightly with an iron.
I want you, you know that I want you.
Let's move on to the sleeve. Make sure that you mark the front and the back of the sleeve. The front of the sleeve is marked with the V notch. Start sewing along the top edge of the sleeve using a wide stitch length with no back stitch. I will use about 1 cm seam allowance or 3/8 of an inch. This basting stitch will help create a more curved top edge, which help you guide forward inward and create a casing for the elastic. I fold the top edge of the sleeve about 1.5 cm or 1/2 of an inch. I fold it and secure it with pins. I use an iron to press everything in place. Do the same with the other sleeve. If you have trouble folding the top edge, just pull the basting stitch to create a slight gathering and even it out along the top edge. It will help the top edge of the sleeve folding better. Now I will start sewing the casing for the elastic. However, I didn't start from the side seam, but I start from the notch. And we're only going to sew between 2 notches. I will sew using 1 cm seam allowance or 3/8 of an inch.
That I want you, you know that I want you.
Prepare 2 elastic for the sleeve head. Attach the safety pin on one end of the elastic. Pull the elastic through the casing and pin both end of the elastic at the notches.
But moments tend to fade, and you're too far away from me to get my name in. Someone keeps blocking.
Do the same for the other sleeve.
Feel further away. Wait on the moment to say that I want you. You know that I want you.
Sew at both notches to secure the elastic at the sleeve head. Next, I will fold the sleeve in half, right side together. Then, I will sew along the side seam. Now I can finish the seam allowance in the underarm. I fold 1.5 cm or 1/2 of an inch, and then I sew it down. Repeat on the other sleeve. Now I'm going to fold the sleeve hem about 4 cm or 1.5 inch and pin everything in place.
Walk into the place, a spot you from a ways. My heart, it started racing.
Now start sewing along the raw edge. I will sew about 0.5 cm or 0.2 inches away from the raw edge. I will start sewing right after the side seam.
Wait on a moment to say that I want you. You know that I want you.
Then I will not sew everything close, but leave a few centimeters open to insert the elastic later. Next, I will do a second stitching line about 1 cm or 3/8 of an inch away from the first line. For this seam, you can fully close the line, and this will create a casing for our elastic.
Too far away from me to get my name in. Someone keeps blocking my way. I can't feel further away. Wait on a moment to say that I want you. You know that I want you.
Prepare two elastic for the ruffle hem. Attach one end to the safety pin. Pull the elastic through the casing in the sleeve. Overlap two ends of the elastic, pin and sew them together. Do the same for the other sleeve. Sew the hole that we used to insert the elastic close. Pin the sleeve to the bodice at the armhole curve. Match the side seam together. Make sure the front notch of the sleeve match with the front bodice. Sew along the armhole curve.
Walk into the place, a spot you from a ways. My heart, it started racing. The crowd across the way, flowers on your face, and then I'm from the 80s. Someone keeps blocking my way. I can't feel farther.
Now we are going to flip the dress to the wrong side. So we do it by lift the lining up, and we are going to work with the main fabric only. Pin at the under bust seam line of the main fabric dress. Pin all the way to the hem. Measure from the under bust seam line. Mark 20 cm or 8 inches. This is where our zipper ends. Sew from the mark to the hem.
Moments tend to fade, and you're too far away from me to get my name in. Someone keeps blocking my...
Sew the zipper to the main fabric dress with a basting stitch, right side together and starting from the right.
Say that I want you, you know that I want you.
For this step, I just want to align the zipper properly. That's why I'm still using the normal pressure foot. Sew until you reach a few centimeters below where your zipper is supposed to end. Now I'm going to zip the zipper up and pin where the underbust seam line match. This gonna make sure that when zipping up, the underbust seam line gonna align perfectly.
If you could read my mind.
Now unzip the zipper and start sewing from the bottom up a basting stitch that align the zipper on the left side with the main fabric dress. Now I'm changing into an invisible pressure foot. Then I will start sewing the zipper to the main fabric body dress all the way till where the zipper ends. Do the same on the other side of the zipper, but now I'm doing it from the bottom up. Now I want to zip the zipper all the way up. Just want to make sure that the zipper can go up and down pretty smoothly before I go into the next step.
I can't feel farther away.
I use a zipper that is a little bit too long, so I have to trim it, but the camera turned off while I was doing so. So here is me pretending to trim the zipper again. Then I will use a zigzag stitch to secure the end of the zipper. It will look something like this. Now I'm going to trim the top of the zipper a little bit. Be careful not to cut the plastic. Just cut a little bit of the extra things on top. Now I will fold and pin the lining in place.
My name in, someone keeps blocking my way. I can't feel further away. Wait on the moment to say that I want you. You know that I want you.
Now I'm switching to a normal zipper foot and I will start sewing the lining in place. I will sew pretty close to the zipper, about 0.5 centimeter or 0.2 inch. And I will sew until I cannot sew anymore because of the zipper. Continue on the other side. After I'm done, I'm gonna zip the zipper all the way up. Now I'm sewing the end of the zipper to the main fabric.
Walk into the place, a spot you from erase. My heart, it started racing.
As you can see, there are a lot of the lining that haven't been attached to the zipper. I'm going to place the lining right side together, align them at the correct length from the zipper so it doesn't look weird, and start sewing them together from a little bit under where the zipper ends all the way to the hem. Here is how everything look like after you're done. As you can see, the zipper is fully sewn into the main fabric and the lining is covering a part of the zipper.
But moments tend to fade and you're too far away from me.
Now we need to finish the hemline. I will leave the hemline of the lining as it is. Well, no one gonna see it anyway, and I'm going to sew the hemline of the main fabric about 1 centimeter or 2/8 of an inch. Press the seam flat after you're done and voila! You have finished sewing Elena dress. If you have successfully made yourself an Elena dress, please considering leaving a review on Etsy and send me a photo. This would definitely make me very happy. And also please like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Your support is the only reason why I can keep doing what I love, and I cannot be more grateful for that. Thank you very, 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 very much. Mwah.